What's up, everyone? It's Chicks in the Office with Rhea and Fran giving you that Friday energy on a Wednesday. We are back with another Bachelorette recap. Yeah. Fran gets her punches in.
I feel like I have to do my Carl motivational punches before we start the Bachelorette recaps.
That gets you pumped up for it.
Pumped up.
Fair enough. Trent's got a beautiful glow going on this evening.
Well, I've been sweating all day.
Yes.
I've been trying to move, or I have been moving. It's been working, but I've been sweating all morning.
Quite literally the worst time to move in New York City. It is pretty much 105 degrees.
Trent didn't choose this life, it chose him.
Well, and it's not so bad for me because I'm moving from a unit to a unit in the same building. So I'm not having to get a truck and drive all around the city.
Sweating.
But when I leave one air-conditioned apartment, get in the elevator, I sweat a lot, and then I get into another air-conditioned apartment. That elevator is 150 degrees,
guys,
but we're working on it.
It says it's 95 degrees right now.
What?
I know, but the real feel is 106.
That's crazy.
Woo, doggy!
I've been in New York for 5 years now, and I don't think it's ever felt that hot.
I don't think I've ever seen 106 on the real feel.
I went biking yesterday in the heat.
I'm going to take a screenshot of
and
that.
I lasted less than 30 minutes.
I worked from my pool yesterday. Oops.
What? Well, the only
Cut that out. Cut that out.
I'm hoping to
He's so not cutting
shed
that
a few
out.
lbs, and I'll be in a new apartment, and that's exciting. That's it. Just
you
drop
you
a couple
literally
pounds.
can pay for that. You know
But
what I'm saying? There are places you can go where they wrap you up and make you sweat and sweat and sweat to help you detox. You're doing it for free.
Oh, I thought you were saying I could have hired movers.
No. I'm
Well,
saying you're saying you also could have done that.
Trent, you
But,
want to
the
work out
sweating,
me and my sister
the
every night?
sweating.
Every night?
We've been doing, it's a lot. We've been sweating our asses off, and I think, it feels good. Especially in the summer heat, you get a double sweat on. You'd have to travel to Long Island, though. It's a lot.
Oh,
it's
no.
a lot
Yeah,
of
that's
work.
not going to happen.
No.
But just to motivate you, hey, we'll give you a call and we'll let you know. Get out there, do some crunches, get some walking.
Just send me
could
some
do a Zoom.
motivational texts.
Yeah,
we
we
could
could do Zoom.
No, wait, I don't.
No,
Let me get settled.
I hate Zoom. We're not doing
Would
Zoom.
also be pretty funny to have Trent just zooming in to work out with you and your sister.
Imagine, but if I recorded that and put it on YouTube, people would eat that up.
Of the three of you,
Just orgasm at the thought of those views.
That was
Everyone
a noise I don't really want to acknowledge just happened, to be honest.
TM and tweet that you guys want to see a workout video with Rhea and Trent.
Okay, maybe we'll do a one-off.
Maybe.
Trent's not excited about that idea at all.
Let me get settled in my new place.
Well, what
and
are
then
we
I'll think
talking about? What Zumba? What do you got Trent doing?
I don't know. We'll see.
What are you and Nicole doing?
What do we do? Well, we walk for a mile or a mile and a half, depending on how hot it is. And then we come back and we do 50 squats and we do 50 crunches. And then we do 50 of each, I don't even know how to do donkey kicks.
Yeah, that might not be an exciting video. You might have to do you'd have to do a cardio dance class.
Yeah, a cardio hip hop
Yeah,
class
exactly.
with Trent.
Exactly. That would be way more entertaining.
Pole dancing with Trent.
Although I'm sure the people would watch you guys do 50 squats. But
50 squats is a lot of squats.
50 squats is a lot of squats.
We'll talk about it.
We'll talk. Let's get into the Bachelorette recap.
All right, everyone. This week is week 4 of the Bachelorette. And we started off a little slow. We didn't know where things were going. But we had our first group date. It was the only date of the night. There was not one other date this entire episode, which makes me think that all the big time dramas happening earlier in this season. This episode was not even a full week. It was half of week 3 and week 4 were technically one episode, where it was a group date, a one-on-one date, and then a group date, and then drama, and then you didn't even get the second group date. And here we are picking up with that second group date, more drama, finally a rose ceremony at the end. But this group date was just a whole bunch of dares. The guys had to go around what might call a smorgasbord of dares. And
Are they really dares? I know that's what they called them, but they're just activities.
They're challenges.
Yeah.
Challenges, I think, was a better word.
Yeah.
When they said truth or dare, I was like, oh, this will be good and interesting.
Wasn't
and then
even any truths.
There was no truth. Oh, no.
No.
No
Not
truth.
a single truth.
Just a lot of dares.
Truths is where you get the good stuff.
Now, wait. If you guys are playing truth or dare, what do you pick? Truth or dare?
Dare.
Dare.
Truth sometimes is too much.
I always pick truth.
You do?
Do you? I don't want to go on a tangent. I know people get upset about this, but I just want to say, if you want to watch a really funny YouTube video, two actually, Cody Co and Kelsey did a YouTube video on this show called Moment of Truth, which is hosted by fucking Mark Wahlberg.
Not the Mark Wahlberg you're all thinking of.
The
Temptation
other Mark
Island,
Wahlberg, which is hilarious. And they had the same conversation because Kelsey was like, the host is named Mark Wahlberg, and Cody was like, wait, what? The host is named Mark Wahlberg. Hilarious. So they get these people up on stage, and if it's 21 questions, and if you tell the truth throughout all of these questions, you get $500,000. They ask you all the questions prior on a lie detector test, so they have whether or not it's true or false already. They don't tell you the answers. So then they ask you again on stage. They destroy these people's lives. Like, people admitted to cheating, being in love with the old boyfriend. The old boyfriend came out, and he came out and asked his own question if he wanted to be with her.
Mark Wahlberg is a devious man,
but a nice man. I heard he's really nice.
Between that show and Temptation Island, he's getting people to just absolutely blow up their lives.
Blown up their entire lives. I highly recommend everybody go watch Cody and Kelsey's videos on YouTube of this, because I was in tears and utter shock.
That is why I always go dare, because I would rather physically embarrass myself than say something true about my life.
See, what's funny is I'm just the polar opposite. I'd rather just put it out there instead of embarrassing myself doing the dare.
Because I feel like you're not ashamed of anything in your life, so why not tell the truth?
I got nothing to hide.
Yeah. You don't. Or do you?
I don't think...
Let's play truth or dare right now.
What did you like to know? Let's get back to the recap.
She's like, fuck, she got me.
Let's get back to it. The dares, challenges, whatever you want to call them, pretty silly. You know, whispering in the ear, the giant ear of like dirty talk, getting waxed. There's a couple other kind of stupid stuff. It was more weird, I thought, that it was like Katie, Tayshia, and Caitlyn like sitting from afar. Like, why weren't they walking from station to station?
Why wasn't Katie involved in her group?
Right,
yeah, like it was just, she was just watching them with binoculars. It was kind
very
of weird.
And it's kind of overplayed now this season with the whole Katie, Tayshia, and Caitlyn watching them with binoculars. Like, we get it, it's like, cute, schoolgirl,
integrate them into
crush,
the date.
but like, it's Katie. Shouldn't she be spending time with these guys?
Right, like when those guys hear their names on a group date card, they're like, "Oh, great! I get to spend at least a little bit of time with her," and they got none of that.
Like, make Katie part of the challenges. Like, you got to whisper in Katie's ear. You got to get waxed by Katie.
Yes.
And they did it at the end when it was the fake proposal, eat the pepper, fake proposal. And that was the only time Katie was involved. I wish she was involved in all of it. I do enjoy some of these dates, though, as much as they are like stupid and they've done them a million times on this show, because you do get a little bit of humor from some of these guys, and you're like, oh, for the ones that don't get an opportunity to show any of their personality on the show, I think it gives them a chance. Like, Christian seemed like a fun guy. I thought he enjoyed the date, and then he was sent home. So it's like, that was it. That was our only time of seeing like any personality from him. But Rhea, you hate the peppers and you hate the fake proposal.
I feel about the fake proposal, because for me, I feel like there were a few guys that did a really good job at the fake proposal, and Katie was tearing up and getting emotional about it. And yes, Greg, who has been to some acting classes, which we can now see that, because if you are able to get down on one knee and give this elaborate proposal within 2 days of knowing Katie, you can get down on one knee weeks from now and do the same elaborate proposal, and Katie's going to believe every word you say, even though you said the same thing, knowing her for one day.
Yeah.
So for me, it just seems not authentic at all. It just is. I also think it's bad luck. I also feel that way with the wedding dress, and they take pictures and all that. Whatever it is, what it is. But to me, it just seems like you won't be able to weed out the fakes if they're getting practice proposals in.
You almost might want those to be the way you weed out the fakes. If they're really good at it, you're like, get out of here.
Yes, if that was the way they were doing it, but the way that they're doing it is that Katie's like, oh my God, that blew me away. It's like,
he's going to do it again.
He's saying, I love you in a fake proposal. Yeah. It feels very wrong to me. It feels weird. It feels fake.
Yeah. I agree with you, because I feel like it's almost a bad sign if he's able to get down on one knee and be like, I love you so much, because then it just feels like he really is putting on a front.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yes, like if the feelings were real, he would get down on one knee and be like so flustered to be like, oh my God, I can't tell her I love her.
Yes.
And,
or refuse to do it.
You get nervous because you're like, oh my,
nervous, or you like, oh my God, I really have these feelings. I can't say them to her.
Yeah, or do it and be like, this is really weird because we've only known each other for one day.
Yeah.
Like, make a joke out of it. Like, Greg was just a little too
good at it.
A little too good.
Was Trey good at it too?
Yeah, but everybody was pretty good at it. It seemed like the one. And of course, there is the pepper element to this. So they're all sweating their asses off and like mouths on fire, and they're trying to spit their words out. But Greg's seemed like it had the biggest effect on her because Katie afterwards was like, he told me he loves me. Like, I'm gonna act like that counts. Like, it doesn't count, but that's okay.
No.
It's so weird that was also a part of the dare date or the whatever date. It just all felt like a whole weird date.
Once again, we're on season 3 now of quarantine seasons.
But it wasn't. We never had any
seasons
dates
of it.
like we didn't have any dates like this with Matt, did we? Claire and Tayshia definitely had
Claire
like this.
and Tayshia, yeah.
They had the scavenger hunt. That was really
because
the
it's
ghost
always
date.
fucking low budget for the Bachelorette. Like the Bachelor, they still were doing these fancy shit dates at
Nemacolin.
Yeah, at the Nemacolin.
Rachel was flying out of airplanes.
Correct.
Oh yeah, that's why they went skydiving.
I know. And this is very reminiscent of La Quinta and the dates they did there.
Yeah.
Very much so.
So it's same kind of vibes.
Step up the budget, ABC.
Well, I'm sure they're not going to do any skydiving after what happened to.
True. No
Good
chance.
point.
Absolutely no chance. But it seemed like the guys had a great time during this date. Things kind of took a turn before the cocktail party, the date night portion, where Trey wanted to tell Katie what had happened with Thomas and his comments about, thinking about being the Bachelor and all these things. And it kind of turned into a whole debate between the guys in the house. Before we jump into that,
it is a great time for the Bachelorette, but it is also a great time with today's low interest rates to refinance your student loans.
Yeah, it is.
Fuck yeah. Earnest offers low rate student loan refinancing, and you could check your rate risk-free in just 2 minutes. With Earnest, you get radically flexible payments, and you could pick your loan term. By refinancing, you can reduce your loan term, save money, or combine multiple loans into a simple monthly payment. And if you have questions, you can even talk to a real-life human at Earnest for help. So isn't it time you stop feeling overwhelmed by your student loans? Because I know it's time for me. It's summer. We don't want to be worrying about this, guys. So get on Earnest. Earnest is offering our listeners a $100 cash bonus if you refinance your student debt at earnest.com/chicks. Terms and conditions apply. Once again, Earnest is giving our listeners a $100 cash bonus. Refinance your student loans at earnest.com/chicks. Terms and conditions apply. Visit earnest.com/chicks for more details. Terms and conditions apply. Earnest student loan refinancing made by Earnest Operations LLC and MLS. Number 1204917, California Financing Law License number 6054788, 303 2nd Suite 401 North San Francisco, California 94107. Visit earnest.com/licenses for a full list of licenses.
Bars.
it was a debate. It was a serious back and forth between Trey and Andrew S. on whether or not Trey should say something to Katie. Trey really wanted to do it. Andrew S. felt like there was no need. And they went back and forth for a while. What did you guys think? Who was right in this scenario?
I think Andrew S. is the most right. I'm not sure that Trey is necessarily wrong, but Andrew S. is right when he says, if you have a connection with Katie, if you have good conversations with her and you think you guys are moving forward, you shouldn't feel the need to rat out other guys in the house just to get brownie points with Katie. And I think that's like a very mature way to look at it. Now, if Andrew S. wasn't involved in the season and I just knew Trey and he was like, I want to tell Katie what's going on with Thomas because she deserves to know, I also agree with that.
Yeah.
But I do think in the long run, Andrew S. is right because if you can just have a good connection with Katie and not have to involve any other guy in the house, that's always going to be the best way to do it. But Trey clearly sees an opportunity where maybe he's not as far along with Katie. They don't have as big of a connection or as good of a connection. So he thinks, hey, I'll tell her about Thomas. She'll start to like me a little bit more. Clearly he got the rose. Mm-hmm. Snitches get rewarded on this season so far. Mm-hmm. So I see both sides of it, but I lean towards Andrew S. being more correct.
Rhea,
listen.
Okay.
In my family,
yeah,
the motto is never rat on your friends and always keep your mouth shut.
Yep.
And they're not following that at all. No. Because, like you said, Katie's rewarding people who are snitching, who are telling her whatever's happening in the house. And I understand. And Fran, you pointed this out on Cutting Stems, which I thought was a good point that you made, even though I don't necessarily agree with what's happening. Yeah. You made a good point that it's not great to be a snitch, but it's clearly getting Trey far because he received the rose. It's clearly working for him. And what you want to do is impress Katie because you're on the show for her. I agreed with Andrew, though, because I do think it's overplayed. I think we talked about this last episode. A lot of people on that show probably have thought to themselves at one point, if this doesn't work out, maybe I'll be the Bachelor. You know, they're not going on for that, but it could be that reason. And I just think you're wasting your time snitching on other people. I personally, like, a boy who's like snitching about people to me it's kind of wimpy. It's like, why are you worrying about these other guys so much? Worry about yourself, worry about your own connection, and you're gonna get much further, because you are going to end up like Katie on Matt James's season, where you just become a friend and there is no romantic connection because you're too busy letting the Bachelor or Bachelorette know what's going on in the house. And that's not how you build a relationship.
Yeah.
Well, Andrew S. is also right that it screws up other guys' time with Katie, where
it's a ripple effect.
It'll work. It works out for the guy who snitches.
Right.
He gets the group date rose, and that's all good. But then,
like Katie, Andrew said, it'll work Katie up. And then
her reaction then doesn't give other guys time, and you see it. Christian ends up going home. He doesn't get time on the group dates. So I do think Andrew S. is right. And sure, again, it's beneficial for the guy who tells Katie and snitches about Tom being there because he maybe wants to be the Bachelor. But everybody else, the fallout isn't worth it.
Yeah. Now, this is kind of a mindfuck. Follow me here. So this debate between them, right, is like Andrew S. Like, everybody, I think, last night was praising Andrew S. for his attitude throughout all of this in a conversation about, does Thomas want to be the next Bachelor? In my mind, Andrew S. constructed a absolute no-hitter evening because he, I think, probably has the thought in the back of his mind that he wants to be the next
100%.
No doubt about it.
Did you not see my tweet last night? I tweeted Andrew S. is like, fuck, I thought we all wanted to be the Bachelor, because he was saying, oh my God, he's screwing everybody over.
Right.
Like, he wants to be the Bachelor.
And now he's like, let's just, guys, keep it to ourselves. Let's not bring.
Right.
And he also,
definitely,
I think he's got Clay Harbor on his side. Like, Clay and Andrew S. are cousins.
Yep.
So I think when you have someone on the inside and you like know how the show works, you're telling me Clay didn't say to Andrew S. like, hey, going on this show, you're going to get so many opportunities, change my life, change my career, like, all these things. You're telling me Andrew S. isn't thinking maybe he could be the Bachelor at some point. And so he, in this scenario, like, for Andrew S. to be the guy that's like, so chill, hey, I'm just here for Katie. Let's all concentrate. Don't worry about the other guys.
Right.
Like, just, if you have a good connection with Katie, then drown out all the outside noise. It's like, all right, pal.
All right, Mr. Bachelor.
Yeah, right. Saying you don't care about the guy in the house who wants to be the Bachelor instantly makes you look like you have the maturity to be the Bachelor.
Yes, that's how everybody watching says, ooh, that guy would be a good Bachelor. They're not going to say that about Thomas, the guy who says he wants to be the Bachelor.
I also didn't even get that from Andrew being like, he'll be a good Bachelor. I had the same thought you had, being like, he wants to be the Bachelor too. That's why he's freaking out.
Yeah, it's just, it's funny to think about, because there's no way that he's not like going opposite viewpoint of Trey to because all the other guys agree with Trey. Oh, it seemed like Andrew was in the minority there. Like, it seemed like all the other guys were like, Trey needs to say something.
It is funny too that Andrew S. had just come off a conversation with Katie where it went really well. Yeah, so he definitely he feels comfortable. Absolutely. He feels like he doesn't have anything to lose. But yeah, all the other guys did agree with Trey.
They did, and it's interesting because the way Trey kind of framed it, I don't know, like the wording is very important. Sort of like feel bad for Thomas in a way. I didn't like him per se, but like, he did kind of get fucked in the fact that he vocalized this where it was like, oh, I did think about it. And the way they sold it to Katie was like, this guy came in here wanting to be the next Bachelor.
Right. Those are two very different things. And I don't think there's any huge Thomas fans on this podcast. But
sure.
You do have to look at the wording and be like, it's very different to say, yeah, it was in the back of my mind. I thought maybe I could be Bachelor if it didn't work out. I didn't have a connection with the person that's there, as opposed to like what you're saying, where it's like, I came on here because I want to be the Bachelor, and that is my number one goal, and I don't care about anything else.
Yeah.
Thomas was more of the former, and they framed it as the latter. So that was more damning for him. But there's still, you get vibes from Thomas that he wants to be the Bachelor.
Yeah, I still did not like the way he interacted with Katie. Besides,
I'm not
Bachelor
a Thomas
stuff.
fan at all.
Yeah, but and like you guys said, worked out in Trey's favor. He got the group date rose, so that is a big reflection on how Katie is kind of like handling her season and how she wants this to go, and she like wants these guys who maybe the other guys don't like to immediately be sent home, and she's not holding back in that area. She like is very much encouraging this behavior, so it's different from what we have seen in seasons past, or where there's been guys that have been causing drama and we're like, the producers will make him stay, there's no way he's going home, and they're all going home. They're all being sent home.
Right. I think so she sent 3 guys home in this way, and I think we would all agree that they were guys who deserved to be sent home.
Yeah, like they were none
Cody,
of these guys were going far.
Carl,
yeah,
now Thomas, like
sure.
all those guys were. Like what I'm saying is snitching, we don't love it, and it's like maybe focus on your own thing. But the guys that are getting sent home are getting sent home for a reason.
Yeah.
Like there's no good guys getting sent home. Like if Michael got sent home this way, it would never happen.
Yeah.
But if it did happen, we'd be like, oh, that's not the right guy.
Yeah.
The 3 guys that have been sent home, they deserve it.
And Katie continues to say like on social media and everything about how amazing her group of guys is. So I think like the group that had her back, that really was like telling her all the ins and outs, she really likes them all a lot and still likes them all a lot. So that's pretty telling. And of course there's going to be drama coming up because we had our guy Blake Moynes show up. Tayshia comes out. She's like, hey, it's very dramatic. I got an ex. He reached out to me. I also always crack up when they refer to the people from their seasons as exes. It's like, he's not really an ex.
Right, like you don't have 29 exes from that show.
Yeah, right. Do you call every single one of
Your
the contestants
ex?
on your show an ex?
Quite cocky of you, Tayshia.
Yeah. Oh, man. But so it says, hey, someone's here.
Oh my God,
God,
that was
you
your
left
foot.
it. Oh.
Sorry.
What's going on?
Nothing.
Playing footsies on the table, guys?
It was not his foot. It was not his foot.
Oh, okay. Blake Moynes shows
no,
up.
please, God, no.
In his bomber jacket. And Tayshia says, you got to go meet this guy, whatever. Katie doesn't know who it is. Blake Moynes shows up. And Tayshia, I think, Katie was very happy to see Blake Moynes.
In my personal opinion, I thought that Katie was smitten with Blake Moynes.
Yeah.
Usually when a contestant comes back, and not talking about Caitlin Bristow and Nick Viall, because I think obviously that ended up, well, he was the runner-up. But I'm talking about Heather and I forget who else. When people show up, you don't get a feeling that the other person is like that excited or interested. But I got the feeling that Katie was interested in Blake Moynes a lot. She was hyping him up, and she looked like she was like, blushing around him.
In terms of timing, when Heather came on to Matt's season, was it much later? It feels like it was much later than when Blake is showing up on Katie's season, right?
For sure.
Okay.
It's all about the timing. And it has worked before, and it also hasn't worked before. Like, remember, Bukowski showed up a couple times. I think he showed up on maybe Andy's season or someone else's season and was like immediately sent home.
Yeah.
So it's happened where they show up and it's like, ooh, yeah, like, I'm so sorry. This is probably a bad idea. I'm not going to put you in the house with everybody. Caitlin did it with Nick,
and
obviously.
that was part of Katie's concern with Blake, was that she has been forming these relationships with guys in the house.
Exactly.
But it doesn't feel as far along, and it feels like Blake could jump into the fray and become a frontrunner pretty quickly, which I think that he is going to become. Right. And they've clearly DM'd before, in between seasons, and they have a good rapport. And I agree with Rhea that Katie seems to like Blake a lot. And I do think he instantly becomes a front runner.
Imagine if the guys treat Blake like they treated Heather, like trying to make him cry.
I think they might, because they're going to be excited that Thomas
Aaron's
is gone.
Aaron's going to be pissed.
Aaron's going to put on his widow baby
Aaron
face.
owns that house.
Aaron is going to walk right up to Blake Moynes and be like, man, this is disrespectful.
It was
and
nice.
You're right. No, but Trent, you're right, though, because the timing, like, we are technically at week 4. Like, this was the week 4 episode. But if what we see is in order here, Blake Moynes showed up after the second rose ceremony. Like last night was the third rose ceremony. So there's only been 2 rose ceremonies, and then Blake Moynes shows up. That's not a lot of time at all.
It's not, but I'd like to say this. I think it's incredibly disrespectful how they portrayed Heather compared to how they portrayed Blake Moynes. Like, when Heather was coming back, it made it seem super desperate. We talked about it a bunch. Yeah. Like, she was hiding out.
A joke.
It was creepy.
So they made her a joke.
They made her a joke. With Blake Moynes, he's not getting that edit, and we don't want that for Blake Moynes. We're rooting for him, but it made it like Tayshia was hyping him up. Katie's hyping him up. It was not the edit that Heather got.
Not at all.
Truly the complete opposite. And they're very much playing into the fact that they had spoken before and that Blake had slid in her DMs and whatever, and they had talked and they had this connection. And I can't remember, but maybe you guys will remember. I think it's true. Like, when Blake came on our show, I feel like we talked about Katie.
We did.
With him.
And we talked about, I think, potential paradise, him and Katie.
Yeah. Look, they make sense to me. The two of them, I think they make sense. And that's probably why the producers were like, oh, this could be good, because we could have like a Caitlyn Nick Viall situation here where he comes in and she really likes him and he goes far. And I wasn't quite sure how it was going to end, because Katie did sort of end that conversation like abruptly. She seemed really into it, but was like, ooh, I got to think about it. I don't know. And I thought because she has been so like simpatico with the guys in the house that she would be like, ooh, I can't do it. I can't do this to them. I gotta send him home.
There is a very real chance they view it as a betrayal.
You think?
But I mean, because you're right that like they have like her relationship with the guys in the house is very good. And it seems like she portrays,
they're all gonna go complain to her,
right? She portrays to them that like, if you have my back, if you tell me who in the house you think is here for the wrong reasons, I will send them right home. And she's been doing that. She's stayed to that. So now she just did it to Thomas. So now, how are they gonna feel that she's bringing in Blake Moynes? Like, I get that they would feel betrayed no matter what, but like the theme of this season is like, if you have my back, I have your back, and now it's going the other way with bringing in Blake Moynes. I'll be very curious to see their response.
Definitely. And the guys basically confirmed to Thomas, Trey told Katie what happened and what you said, and so Thomas now knows that this has been construed and whatever, this story has been told. Thomas, before the cocktail party, they're hyping this up big time. Yeah. Thomas goes to Katie's room before the cocktail party even starts. They keep cutting to all the guys standing in the room waiting for Katie to show up. Meanwhile, Thomas is talking to her, and he had a lot to say. But before that, I just moved into a new apartment, so there are tons of things that I need, that I want to make sure I'm living a good lifestyle. I want to keep a clean and healthy home. I'm getting maybe a little lazy with going to the store and buying products. You move into a new place and you realize that laundry detergent, cleaner, sponges, all these things that are so essential as household products that you want to all buy in one place. And that's why Grove Collaborative is so, so amazing. 70% of people say they want to use natural products, but only 2% do. Grove makes it so easy. I got my box delivered right to my apartment. I got wipes, I got laundry detergent, I got soap, I got sponges, I got these rags that are so great. It's like a, better than an alternative to a paper towel where you don't have to continue to throw out all the paper towels. You have this one towel, you can wash it, you can clean it, it's reusable. Grove is the online marketplace that delivers healthy home, beauty, and personal care products directly to you. Grove Collaborative takes the guesswork out of going green, so you can browse the site for thousands of home, beauty, and personal care products, all guaranteed to be good for you, your family, your home, and the planet. It's so easy to use. I went right onto the website, started looking for all the products that I needed. I actually went through their best sellers and thought, I need all of these things. So I'm really happy that I have them all. I'll be using them to clean the apartment. Like I said, beauty products, also great if you're looking for clean beauty products. With Grove, you don't have to shop multiple stores or search endlessly online to get all the natural goods you need for you and your family. Plus, shipping is fast and free on your first order. It was right to my door in no time, everything together in one box, which is great. Making the switch to natural products has never been easier. For a limited time, when our listeners go to grove.co/chicks, you will get to choose a free gift with your first order of $30 or more, but you have to use our special code. Go to grove.co/chicks to get your exclusive offer. Once again, that's grove.co/chicks. Thomas enters the room, sits down with Katie, and once again goes on his whole spiel of, I'm here for you. I'm here for the right reasons. I didn't know what this was going to be coming in, but now I know that this could be something, and this whole thing. And I don't know. At first I thought Katie was really buying into it, and then I was like, I don't think she's buying what he's selling.
No, at first for sure, and I think everyone kind of was. He's very convincing. The way that he speaks, there's not a lot of emotion. It's all very to the point. But then once he got down the line, and then I think at one point interrupted her.
Yeah,
she did not like that at all. It's funny that, like, during the first part of the episode, when all the other guys are talking about Thomas, and it's nonstop, like, what are we gonna do about Thomas? Are we gonna tell Katie about Thomas? You start to think in your head, like, maybe Thomas got a bad rap. Maybe, like we were saying, they're framing it in a way where they're saying he wanted to be the Bachelor, not that it was in the back of his mind. And that all that time you're kind of like, maybe Thomas is getting a bad rap. But then as soon as Thomas appears and starts to speak and starts to manipulate Katie, you're like, oh, I know why I don't like this guy. And they're right about him. And like, he should probably go home. It's like the more he's off camera, the more you like him. And then he gets on camera, you're like, oh no, I know who this guy is. So I think Katie feels the same way.
When all the guys are arguing, like, I can't believe he said that, it's easy to be like, well, of course he said that. And then he speaks and you're like, ugh. And this guy to me is just Josh Murray 2.0. Yeah. I think, we talked about this on Cutting Stems. I'll say it again, like, Josh on Andy's season, I feel like did so much of what Thomas is doing, but because the environment around this show was so different then, it wasn't like immediately being called out. It was more, and of course, Josh Murray didn't say like, hey, I want to be the next Bachelor or anything like that. But he sold us so hard with Andy, and then obviously that didn't work. He ended up on Paradise as well, and I'm pretty sure Thomas is going to be on Paradise as well.
No doubt.
Nick Viall tweeted something about like feeling bad for Thomas, and Katie retweeted it and was like, I wouldn't feel that bad for him with like the wave emoji and the palm tree emoji. So I think that's pretty much a done deal at this point. But the way he speaks without his face moving, I can't get behind it. I just like, you can't speak to a girl about your strong feelings and how much you care for her and you want things to work and just do it like this. It's freaky. It's freaky.
Yeah, you just freaked me out looking at me like that.
Yeah, could you imagine if I was like, Maria, I can't believe how much fun I have doing this show.
Very uncomfortable.
And, I just think we have such a great future together. It's terrible.
I'm getting quite uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly. Now imagine if I was like, oh my God, like I have so much fun doing this.
Me too.
And like your face is moving,
God, I love
your forehead's moving.
Yep.
It's
weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
It is weird.
It's weird.
And I don't like the Josh Murray comparison because I think of his disgusting kissing noises.
Yeah.
That was with Amanda, right?
That was
with Amanda on Paradise. It was gross.
He was always eating pizza.
Yeah, I think it's something else to do with their
noises.
the shiny faces. They're always both so shiny.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And Thomas is also tall. He's very tall.
Very tall. Thomas is I can see Katie being like this tall, dark, and handsome man.
But Thomas has short guy energy.
Yeah, I get that.
Like when he's sitting down.
Yeah.
I didn't even know
we were all
taken
taken aback when we realized how tall he was.
When she walked him out of her room and he was able to kiss the top of her head without having to like do anything, that's a tall guy. He was taller than I expected.
Does height matter?
What do you mean?
It's to you guys.
Well, I think it's one of the first things people notice. So yeah. I don't know if it necessarily matters. Like you can not care about it when you actually get to know someone, but you're lying if you say that isn't like the first thing. One of the first things you notice.
Shorter than you, Rhea.
Absolutely fucking not.
So it matters, I guess.
Oh my God, that was a really mean reply by me. But I'm short. Like I'm.
Yeah, I mean, you would be dating someone that's literally 5'2".
That'd be hilarious.
No, like, see, that was so mean. Such a mean answer by me. I'm so sorry.
Because you're like pretty average.
I don't know necessarily about shorter. I think yes. I mean, I've had boyfriends that are like my height.
For me, I could go anything above me because I'm short. Yeah, so everybody's taller than me.
Like, you'd have to really seek out someone shorter than you.
Yeah, I
like
would.
If they were like 6'8".
That might be too tall.
So it seems like it's very important. Like you have
I mean, not right. There's.
I mean, that 6'8" is once you're really going.
What height would
be picking not average heights?
What would be the limit for how tall that can be?
It depends on what's on the inside.
4.
Look,
what's their heart say?
Ria's working with like 5'3" to like 6'4". That's a big range.
It is a large
guys
range.
fall in that range.
5'3", no way. That'd be too short for a guy.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying if you wanted to wanted to say like
anyways, moving on.
Same height. But no, I
was asking you two. This wasn't about me.
Yeah.
Thomas is just tall.
You noticed?
I did. I did notice because I didn't realize how tall he was until that moment.
Until the head kiss.
He was just. I don't know how tall Katie is, but Thomas is tall.
Yeah.
And that would weigh in her decision as well.
Absolutely. Every girl loves a little head kiss, top of the head.
It is sweet.
It is sweet. Which is why I didn't know where this was going to go. I couldn't tell if Katie was going to be like, I gotta see what happens, keep him another week, see what goes down. But she continues to really be a just zero tolerance for the bullshit kind of bachelorette. She is ready to send home all of these guys, and all the guys want to continue telling her everything that's happening. You could see it in that cocktail party when she finally did show up. All the guys, once again, so mad at Thomas.
Really mad.
I think it was Greg who was like, oh, sorry for taking up the time or whatever before the rose ceremony. Greg was like, it's midnight, brother. Like it's midnight. We're all fucking exhausted, and she hasn't even shown up yet.
It's bedtime. Yeah.
Yeah. And she also really has done a good job of like, I think, being pretty honest with the guys. Like when she's in a bad mood, she doesn't like put on a happy face.
Yeah.
She came back from that conversation with Thomas and was like, sorry for being late, guys. I guess let's fucking get this show on the road. Who wants to talk to me first?
Do you think, well, I know that it's cutting down on the drama when you get rid of the Thomases and the Carls and Cody to an extent, although we didn't really get to know him.
Yeah.
Like, as a viewer, I almost wish, like, I didn't want Thomas to get that rose, but like it also would have been, clearly it would have been pretty amazing if he did.
Yeah.
Like they made a point to have Katie say his name, then go to commercial, then come back and send him home. Like,
it was an unbelievable tease.
It was an unbelievable tease, and it's better for Katie that Thomas is gone, and it's better for the house that Thomas is gone. But there was a small part of me that like, if he had stuck around, it would have been a scene.
Absolutely. We're gonna get into all the details from that rose ceremony right after this.
Obviously, this has been a tough year for everybody, and I'm sure with the world opening back up, it's not very easy to adjust to for some people. You know, bars are full capacity, restaurants full capacity. The world is just going back to normal, and it's a lot to adjust to after the year that everybody has had. And I think it has taken a toll on some people's mental health. It definitely has on mine for sure, but BetterHelp is here to help you. I know some people personally in my life that have been using BetterHelp, and they're loving it. It's online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. Some people feel uncomfortable doing that, but it's the most comfortable way that you feel you can do that with BetterHelp. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, which is also a problem that people come to all the time with therapy being so expensive, or finding a therapist that fits your price range, or just finding one in general can be very, very hard and a difficult experience. But BetterHelp is there for you, and you can start commuting with a therapist in under 48 hours. You can unload the stressors of life and get unbiased feedback, and you'd be pretty surprised what you might gain from it. So right now, this podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and our listeners get 10% off their first month at BetterHelp.com/office. That's BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com/office, and you'll get 10% off your first month. Check it out if you're looking to get into therapy. I think this is a great way to start. Like I said, there's a few people in my life right now that have started BetterHelp, and they're really enjoying it. It's helping them a lot. So go to BetterHelp.com/office and get 10% off. Do you guys feel like they did not want to pull a Coochie Monster move where she was there week after week and people were getting really pissed off? Like, do you remember how mad people were getting about that? They were like, all right, the drama was good, but now we're sick of her. And maybe they saw that reaction and they were like, okay, the drama is good for an episode with Thomas, but maybe we want to get rid of him before it becomes a thing.
For a couple more.
I think they could have milked it for at least one more.
I think it's Katie.
Like,
but
I think
the producers realized that Katie was just like gonna really fight back with them, and like so I think the producers were like, let's just fucking go head on into the story that Katie's gonna send all these dudes home right away.
The only difference with this and Coochie Monster is that I think there is a legit connection.
Just Trent saying Coochie Monster.
I think there's like a Thomas and Katie connection I buy. The Matt and Coochie Monster connection, nobody bought. Like, she was just around, and we never even saw those Matt and her talk. Like, it was weird. Thomas, I think Katie had legitimate feelings for Thomas.
Sure. Yeah.
And she was like, I'm not even going to deal with it.
Right. She was interested a little bit.
Yeah.
For sure. Where I think like, that's where it
Yeah.
wouldn't have got as annoying because we could have seen them potentially be together. Where Matt and Coochie Monster just
it was almost like Luke P and Hannah Brown. Like, everyone was like, get this guy off the show, but Hannah Brown liked him.
Right.
Like, it was crazy. Like, she really liked him.
Exactly.
And that's why I think it wasn't as annoying as the Coochie Monster situation, because although Luke P was annoying, we were like, oh, well, Hannah Brown isn't seeing what everyone else is seeing, so she likes him, I guess.
Did Luke P get to the Final Four?
He went to hometown.
Did he get to hometown?
He went to hometown.
Don't you remember they went to the church or whatever with the friends, and
that was unbelievable. That was unbelievable.
The good old days.
That was an awesome season. Then Tyler Hannah moved the podium.
That was very reminiscent of last night.
And Tyler said
fucking
he said something to Luke that was crazy.
Yeah.
Luke P going to the Final Four is just a Cinderella run that nobody wanted. And it was just the worst.
And then guess what? He got sued by the show.
And it was one of the most impressive things though, because he really was a very hateable person that made it. So it wasn't a side character. Yeah. He really made it.
Well, he was like legitimately a bad guy.
Yeah.
Like everyone was like, this guy's manipulative.
It's
and
for
like
contestants.
Jake, what the fuck is his last name?
Bahari.
Jake P. Pal. You know who I'm talking. There was a Bachelor, Jake. He The Bachelor has picked winners before that everyone has been like, how the fuck did he pick her?
Yeah.
Like, that happened with Jake's season. It happened with Ben F's season when he picked Courtney.
Yeah.
Courtney? Courtney. Hold on.
That sounds right. I'm trying to think. Really going back into the memory bank.
Yeah. Ben F had picked Courtney, and Courtney was the villain the whole season.
Right.
And she won that was who he picked. So it has been kind of a while since something like that happened, but now Katie's season is just the complete opposite. And all these guys sat down with Katie before the rose ceremony and were like, we want to talk about Thomas. Everybody still wanted to talk about it and bring it up or bring something up. And Justin made me laugh the most. One, Justin's had amazing reactions. His eyes like bug out and it's very entertaining. But he made me laugh because he was like, he knows that it's been paying off for these guys. Like Trey got a rose. So he was like, I just wanted to let you know that if Trey didn't tell you, I would have told you.
I was next in line.
So funny.
I was knocking down your door to snitch.
Fantastic. Way to go, Justin, to be like, just so you know, if Trey didn't tell you, I would have been the one to step up.
I'm not snitching, but I'm telling you I will snitch for you.
Yes.
Yeah. Come to me in the future.
Yep. He's like, I will be there. But the guys, they wanted to continue to talk about it.
Not even I will simp for you. It's I will snitch for you.
I will snitch for you. The only one who didn't really get into it, and for good reason, Michael. Sweet Michael.
He's an
adult.
adult.
Had a great moment. He
Michael's
spoke to the guys.
Be the Bachelor.
Yeah, Michael was like, hey guys, like, we can agree to disagree here. Let's just like stop talking about this. I know that you guys are, because there was a weird blow up between Andrew S. and Aaron.
So funny. Don't yell at me.
Aaron, don't talk. Be respectful. Be respectful.
But okay, let's
don't yell at me.
Aaron,
don't yell at me.
Aaron is an absolute hothead.
He's a widow baby. All right, so let's think about the guys who have snitched and ended up sending somebody home. So it was Aaron to Cody.
Yeah.
Who to Carl? Well, to everybody.
All
to Carl.
of them. I mean,
All
the entire
of them.
group. Mike stood up at the rose ceremony and said, "We all think Carl
Solidarity.
needs to go home."
That was the solidarity
the entire
moment.
group.
Solidarity
Okay,
snitch.
so that's hard
I can get down with the solidarity
Yeah,
snitch.
I can too.
That's
all right,
like
so that one's,
that's mutiny. I'm down for that.
you can't pinpoint anybody there, but then it's Trey. But none of those people they're not necessarily front runners. You know what I mean?
No.
They're not going to win.
Right, and it almost feels like Katie is she likes having them there because they are going to snitch, but it's not Connor B. It's not Andrew S. It's not anybody who Greg.
They're all being the Katie of Katie's season.
Snitching gets you nowhere in life.
Katie did it on Matt's season, and I think Katie was very happy. Like, obviously, things didn't work between her and Matt, but Katie did it that way and then ended up the Bachelorette. So, like, I think she looks at these guys and she's like, oh, these guys are acting like how I acted. And
right. And it's a short-term reward of a group date rose, but I don't know. None of them are seriously in contention to be part of an engagement at the end.
No,
at least not of right now.
I don't think so. And
I don't. It's just an interesting dynamic.
For sure, it does also, make you maybe wonder if the producers have any play in that, where they're whispering in the ears of the guys that they know probably won't make it to the end to be like, you should probably tell Katie about that.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
There's definitely a good chance of that happening, but in the actual rose ceremony was one of the moments that, like you said, Trent, we were not expecting. They got down to that final rose. She says Thomas's name. They cut to commercial. We all think that Thomas is walking away with that rose. They come back. He's all smiles, comes up. She takes a step back from him, and she delivers like, you're a liar, you're selfish,
manipulator.
Your bachelor audition has ended. Get out.
Yeah.
Just fucking roast him.
How much do you think him like addressing everyone before that influenced?
All right, he gave that horrible apology.
That was pretty obvious.
It was a performative apology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was desperation.
I think that certainly didn't help. I think Katie was going to do that anyway, but I mean that did not help at all. Now, I did see a lot of people on social media angry about how Katie handled that, thinking that she embarrassed him for no good reason. Thoughts?
I'm trying to think. Like, how do I feel about Thomas?
Right,
because that's the question. Like,
ultimately, I don't care about him at all.
He will be fine.
So.
Like I said, he's still going to go to paradise because of all of this.
Do I think he went there wanting to be the Bachelor and was like, that's what I'm going to do? No. I think he had thoughts of it just like everybody else in the house had it. And if you had left it at that and that's how Katie reacted to it, I would have thought it was over the top. But I do think there are parts of Thomas where he is a manipulator.
Yeah.
And I don't even know.
I didn't like the way he talked to her. Like after everything went sour for him, and even just I'm like falling for you 4 days after knowing her was just a bunch of bullshit.
The most upsetting part about Thomas is that I don't think he ever wanted a real connection with Katie, despite the things that he was saying.
He wanted the world to think.
But he wanted to see if he could do it.
Yeah.
To see if he could advance, to see if he could go further on the season, and that's wrong.
But when they talked, she seemed like somewhat like undecided. Like it could have gone either way. Like when they talked. And then when they roast him, like she was like fully like, you suck. So what happened in between that?
I mean, I think
because in his mind he probably did not expect.
Yeah.
If we had said, what do you think?
Probably held in her emotions.
What do you think's gonna happen? Does Thomas get a rose or does not Thomas get a rose? As she's heading to the rose ceremony, what would you have said?
I thought Thomas was going to get a rose.
Me too.
But not because that conversation like went really well and Katie was like, oh, that I believe everything he's saying. I thought from just a show standpoint, he was going to get it because they were going to just have the house blow up more with Thomas staying
Maybe
there.
That was their like, the producers were like, well, if you're not going to let him stay all longer, like embarrass him in front of everyone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
And
or maybe she was like, okay, well, if I get rid of Thomas, I got Blake coming in.
Yeah.
And the angle that Thomas took where he said, I don't remember the word that he used, but I believe he was trying to say ostracized.
Oh, he said demonstracized.
Which I don't think is a thing.
I believe he said not a word.
But that was in terms of trying to get Katie to see his way, taking the angle of like, oh, these guys just want me out of here.
Yeah.
That I think was a quote unquote good one, but I don't know. Like I thought maybe Katie would keep him around because she's like, oh, maybe I'll try and play this out a little bit. That's the only reason I thought that he was going to get a rose.
Mm-hmm. Did you think he was going to get the rose, Rhea?
I felt like it could have gone either way because, like Noah said, it kind of seemed like she was a little bit undecided.
Yeah.
But I do think that maybe in the back of her head, she was like, okay, well, if I keep Thomas here and then I also bring Blake Moynes in, I'm going to have to deal with double the problems, because we know that now this is going to be a whole other storyline.
Yeah.
And maybe she kind of looked out at everyone else, and you know, she did the same thing with Cody. I was like, all right, do I like him that much? No. So I might as well just get him off now before she starts developing real feelings for him, and then it really becomes a problem.
Yeah.
I'd love to know how many times, if ever, a bachelor or a bachelorette calls an audible at the podium with who they're picking.
Yeah.
Because you could very much convince me that Katie went to those roses and didn't know if she was going to give Thomas a rose or not.
Maybe it was the heat of the moment. Maybe she got fired up thinking about it and was like, fuck this.
Absolutely. 100% a possibility. And it was kind of a weird, it was kind of confusing because like she had the rose in her hand and then he left and then the rose was gone. And it was like, in what order was this filmed?
Because they were
how did this happen?
They were like having drinks and it's like, where's the rose?
She said goodbye to Christian and David and the other Connor, and the rose was completely gone. It like wasn't on the thing anymore, wasn't on the stand. The rose was just not there. And I was confused because I was like, well, she's sending 3 guys home. Does she not feel like she could maybe give this rose to one of them? I guess not. Christian, David, and Connor. The other Connor was Connor C. And I was like, because I wanted to see more of David. I thought we didn't really see any of him at all, and Christian too. I thought were like 2 people that the fans were gonna get behind, but maybe they'll get a chance at Paradise.
Yeah. I think they did it in a, I don't know if a smart way.
It was kind of confusing because then I was like, I thought she was gonna carry the rose to Blake Moynes, but she didn't have the rose.
Right. Oh, she didn't have the rose when she went to his room.
No.
Oh, I must have misremembered that.
Yeah.
But I did sort of like how. I thought maybe they confused us on purpose a little bit. Like, where's that last rose?
Yeah.
And then you think, oh, right, Blake Moynes is on the property. He's going to advance.
Right.
If that's the way they did it, I don't know if they did it on purpose or not, but it dawned on me before she started going to his hotel room, and I actually really like that.
Which makes me, like, I would love to know if the order we watched what happened is the order of how it actually happened. You know? Like, if the whole rose ceremony happened and then she went to Blake, or if she went to Blake first and then the rose ceremony happened.
The way they filmed it or the way that they put it together, I feel like she went to him first.
Yeah, it's very, very possible. But they did make it seem like Katie showed up at Blake's door in the middle of the night. He looked sleepy. They made it seem like he was totally naked, which he probably was.
Classic
Blake
Moynes getting naked on TV again.
Said he didn't have a robe. Said he didn't have any. He comes out in his sweatshirt and boxers. Katie's like, I could come back later. And they really play into the Blake Moynes is Blake Moynes.
Yeah.
And you know, we probably would have made fun of that big time, and we will, but it was
Blake Moynes is the naked guy from Friends.
It was very funny, and Katie asked him to stay and come into the house.
They're very cute, the 2 of them.
Their
interactions.
They're both like a little wacky.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like,
I want a Blake Moynes hometown so bad. Just for Emily Moynes to be up on that TV.
To have her time to shine.
She needs her time to shine. She deserves it.
He's got to keep coming on Bachelorette until he gets a hometown.
Like, let's get a hometowns
that would
because
be the funniest thing of all time if they went hometowns and Trent played the dad.
I know. I said that last night.
Oh my God.
I was like, Trent, I know you didn't do luggage guy, but did you go home as Blake's stepdaddy?
I wish I had now, because that would be so funny.
Or he just
sitting there.
So
I wear like
funny.
a dad outfit.
Yeah,
that would be so good.
Welcome home, son.
Let's cross our fingers.
You're asking
that would
like,
be...
Katie, what are your intentions?
Oh my God.
I
so
wish
funny.
I could say that happened, but it unfortunately did not.
Would have been some good stuff, but that wrapped it up for the episode. Blake is going to be locked in, and let me tell you from the preview, Hunter, I don't know what happened. Hunter seemed like a pretty level-headed guy, but Hunter seems like he takes a very aggressive turn.
I missed the preview. I
oh
didn't
my
see
God. They're playing football or some kind of tackle sport or something, and Hunter's out there crushing people. Destroying people.
Anytime there's a contact thing like that, I have to bring up, remember when Dylan got trucked by Luke P?
Yeah, tweet that out next week.
I'm going to tweet that gif out 100 times next week.
Hunter seems like he's turning into a madman a little bit. So
I'm
we'll
excited.
see what happens there, and we'll be back next week.